on the neighboring island of Java was the kingdom of Mataram, and they too were lords of water, fresh water. Mataram served as Srivijaya's upland ally, though whether they were full partners or vassals is undetermined, and probably varied. At times, they fought. While the rulers of Mataram controlled the ports on Java, their power center lay in the terraced rice fields on the volcanic slopes. In fact, one of the kingdom's most prominent dynasties literally ruled under the name Lord of the Mountain. Where Srivijaya was dynamic and open to outside influences, Mataram was conservative and traditionalist, changing slowly and deliberately. Its strength lay in agriculture and controlling the irrigation systems that fed its enormous rice terraces. Centuries before, the Javanese had started using wet rice cultivation to boost their agricultural productivity. While the island's sacred volcanoes sometimes made life hazardous, they also gave Java some of the most fertile soil in the Pacific, meaning the kingdom of Mataram could produce huge quantities of rice to support a large population and export via trade. But rice terraces require irrigation, which is how the first Javanese government started. Village leaders would control the irrigation systems, with their power radiating out to wherever the water went. Gradually, these irrigation systems solidified into small kingdoms, which eventually coalesced under the kings of Mataram, lords of the mountain and managers of rice fields. While Srivijaya controlled the shipping lanes, Mataram had something just as crucial: a large workforce that it used to plant, harvest, and maintain the irrigation networks. And they could mobilize that manpower for other projects, like conquest or temple construction. The first temples on Java appeared in the 7th century on the upland plateaus, with local kingdoms erecting beautiful, if modest, Hindu temples in the Indian style. But the kings of Mataram had something much grander in mind, something that would eclipse these little Hindu structures. For unusually, the most prominent Mataram dynasty was Buddhist, and they wanted to build a monument that would endure forever. It took generations, but they did it. Borobudur remains, to this day, the largest Buddhist structure on the planet. So big, it looks like a stone mountain. This hulking monument is actually a series of platforms, a mandala in stone, where each level features bas-relief carvings on increasingly sacred topics. Pilgrims would travel upward, walking around the outside of each level while meditating on the 2,600 carved panels, seeing tales of their ordinary world, stories of Buddhist saints, previous incarnations of the Buddha, scenes from Buddha's life, and finally a summit of bell-shaped stupas representing the celestial realm. Srivijaya couldn't build anything like Borobudur, though in fairness, Mataram might not have really been able to do it either, because it may have cost them their kingdom. Soon after its completion, this Buddhist dynasty abandoned their lands, perhaps due to revolts over the burden of temple construction, perhaps due to an eruption of their sacred mountain, perhaps both. But the dynasty set a new bar for what a central Javanese kingdom could do. And while their successor dynasty moved the capital to the east, one of their first actions was to one-up their Buddhist predecessors by building a similarly grand Hindu monument, the Temple of Prambanan. The stage was set. Whatever kingdom could fuse these two elements, the maritime trading empire of Srivijaya with the raw inland power of Mataram, would become the lords of the archipelago, an empire of water. That kingdom was Majapahit.